Welcome to Thought Talk, Positivity in Motion. Hosted by best-selling author, speaker, and coach C. Ray Collins.
Communication is still a very important key, and making it positive is something that we don't do enough of.
C. Ray visits with members of our communities and leaders of local businesses on how they share a positive message during difficult and good times. And now, here's C. Ray.
So welcome to the show today, Thought Talk, where everything is positive. This week is Thanksgiving week, and beside having a guest, I thought it might be a good time to talk a little bit about me. When we first started doing this podcast, we kind of hit the ground running with a guest and never took time to really talk about what I do. So today we're going to talk about that. As you know, my name's Claude Collins, but I write under C. Ray Collins, and my podcast is under C. Ray Collins. I'm an author, a speaker, a trainer. I have written three books that you can see here, and also an author in a fourth book, which several authors had chapters in this book. We're going to talk a little bit about these books. And then we're also going to talk about a little bit about me, where I come from, and how I got to where I am. So just to give you a little bit about what I do, I got this little clip I want to show to you, and I'm going to do that right now. So y'all take a look at this.
Believe it or not, when you're a speaker on stage, you're the leader, right? Everybody agree with that? So we have to first establish what a leader is. So a leader or leadership is someone that influences others to do what he wants done, and they do it because they want to. So how can that happen? Huh? It's by positive communication.
You make up the other 99.9%. And it's not just businesses that have leaders. When you go out and play a game, there's always a leader. When you're hanging out with your friends, you've always got leaders, right? Even in your marriage, there's leaders. One of you's a leader, the other's a follower, and we won't go there. And all leaders have one thing in common. They know how to communicate with you. They don't just communicate with your conscience, they communicate with your subconscious. They also, what happens in subconscious? It controls your emotions. It controls your decisions. It controls your vision. And that's what this book's about. Consciously, not only consciously, it has to do with getting your attention. Subconsciously, it's a commitment. As soon as you respond to that, it's a commitment. And that's how you learn to communicate. Okay, I hope y'all enjoyed the clip. Let's talk a little bit about our books. Well, let's don't do that. Let's talk a little bit about me. I'm from southeast Oklahoma, and it's outside a little community called Fort Towson, Oklahoma. When I lived there, the population was about 200. I lived about 2 miles out of town, just on the edge of Lake Geary, and I grew up there and went to school there. When I was young, up until I started the fourth grade, I had a speech impediment, which I was partially tongue-tied. So from an early age, I started finding ways to communicate because there were so many words I couldn't say. So I found other ways to communicate and get across what I wanted to say. So I guess I started this communication thing at an early age, and I started realizing that through communication, you could influence people, and I kind of carried that right on into high school, right on into my work. Through high school, I was class president, FFA president, carnival chairman. I had several different roles when I was in high school, and I contribute that to a good communication. And so I took that right on into my business world. I spent 47 years in the construction industry, about 40 years of that in some type of supervision or management. And of course, one of my responsibilities at that point was I also helped younger supervisors and managers develop their own skills, become better leaders. And so during that process, also, I came up with a training program. And that training program
is more to give them tools to use as leaders, and realizing that the training was great, but it really needed a little something to go with it. I wrote a book, and that book was Leaders, Followers, Behaviors, and Tools. This book is for leaders. It'll help make them a better leader. It's full of information and tools they can use, from the way they communicate to the way they handle their employees or their followers. And so that book is my first of self-help books, I guess. Going back to my original book, which was a sci-fi book, all through my life, I've always written songs and short stories, and I sat down to write this story thinking maybe a short story, but it turned into a novel. And what if it was possible, the ultimate journey? This book is a sci-fi book. I call it a soft sci-fi because they don't have any monsters in it. But it talks about a journey to another world, and then finding similarities between the two worlds, and then making a bond with the two worlds and becoming allies with each other. It's a great story. It's an award-winning book. So it is a good story and a good read for almost all ages, especially teens on up. It's a great book for that. After I finished this first book, I realized that communication is needed everywhere, and also leaders are in everything that we do. Whether it's with your family, or whether you're hanging out with your friends, or you're playing a sports, or you're going to church, there's always leaders and followers in everything that you're involved in. And so everyday life, you need to be able to communicate and communicate positive. And so I came out with my third book, which is Thought Talk, and it's for everybody. This book is for people to learn to communicate positive. It's got a section in here about talking with your families and friends. There's a section in here about body language, when you can look at other people's body language and see whether you're doing any influencing or not, as well as what kind of body language that you should have, and when you're trying to get a positive communication going. This book is a great book. It's a good guide for anybody that wants to improve their communication skills, as well as for any manager, supervisor, or leader. It also helps you do better at your job by using that book. And these books come from my heart. They're 40 years experience. I've continued to always study with Dale Carnegie courses. I've taken several other courses in human relationships. I've continued to study the human, and these books are full of information and facts that you can use anytime you like to. Once I wrote this Thought Talk book, it also led to doing this podcast. Thought if there was a way to visit with people in the community, whether it's businesses or individuals, and talk about the positive things they do, not just for their companies, but also for their communities. Then I want to highlight those and bring those out into this podcast and bring it to the audience, to you people, so you have that opportunity to know these people as well as know the companies, and understand that they give a lot back to the communities. And so that led to this podcast. And then the last book I got here, which is Speaking Your Way to Success. This is a shared book by several authors. I think there's 12 or 13 authors that put this book together. This book is it's talking about how you find within yourself to share your story, because everybody has a story to tell, whether it's about your relation to business or about the way you grew up or your relations to God. Everybody has a story to tell, and this book kind of enlightens you on how you can get that story across and get up on the stage and share that story. So all four of these books are available. They're on almost any of your online outlets, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, also on my my own page, which is craycollins.com. And you take a look at those books now. I'll post that up there for you to look at for a minute in case you want to order one of these books, be happy that you did. Like I say, Christmas coming up, by all means, get your books. If you'd like to have an autographed copy of one of these books, you can contact me on my webpage, and I'll give you a call, and we'll arrange for you to purchase that book, and I will have it signed and sent to you just as soon as possible. So the closing today, I want to talk about this week. This week is Thanksgiving week, and I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving, but it is a week to reflect and give thanks for what we have. I have so many blessings in my life. I can't name them all that I want to give thanks for, but I do think that I have God in my life. I have my family and my friends, and I hope that you're able to do the same. I'd like to give out special thanks to Real News PR. This is the studio where I do my podcast. They do a very professional job, and they've made this easy for me to come in and transition into something I've never done before. And I really want to give them a thanks, and I appreciate them being involved in what I do. I want everybody to have a good week. Everybody think about what's going on. Hopefully you'll want to buy some of my books. If you're interested in me coming in and giving a speech, you can contact me on my website, craycollins.com, or you can go to Gig Salad and register me to do a speech for you, or you can also go to GlobeEliteSpeakers.com. So I want everybody to have a good week, and we'll see you on the next show.